Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Easy Does It. Now, for this episode, we decided to talk about something a little bit different than what we've been talking about, mostly the fruits in the last three episodes, and some coolant. You know, those go very well together. So we kind of back onto the dessert realm and the milky realm again. And we decided to talk about FA Meringue, okay? Now, I haven't specifically been mixing up a lot of desserts, but, you know, in the past I have used it, and I've done a little bit of research on this. But yeah, FA Meringue is, of course, widely used in cereal-type recipes, as well as dessert recipes. And, you know, there's a couple of ways that you can apply this in recipes. I've got my notes here, but Richard, I think it's better if you talk a little bit about it, and then I'll fill in some of the gaps with some of the research that I've done here.
Yeah, I mean, TFA meringue is one of those flavors that should be in every new mixer's very first order, if not then certainly in their second order, because it's a massively popular and very versatile flavor. The thing with it is not to be misled by the name. You're not putting it in to get a discrete meringue flavor in your juice. 99% of the time when FA meringue is used, it's for sweetening, it's for a powdered sugar effect, it's to add a little bit of that powdered sugar note to your bakeries, to sweeten up desserts. If you add it into cereal milks, it adds that kind of where the frosted coating from the cereal actually, you know, blends into the milk over time in the cereal. It adds that sort of vibe to a cereal milk. So it's just a sort of generic sweetening agent that is used. It has a very different character from sucralose. So very versatile, very popular. You're going to find 10,000 recipes that use it, if not more. It's something that you're going to be using, you know, all the time and in very small amounts. And the other great thing about meringue is that really there are only two on the market, and there's only one that you need to buy, and that is FA meringue. If for whatever reason you can't source FA meringue, you can happily sub with TFA meringue. That is one aspect where I agree 100% with Head and Clouds, where he said, you know, he doesn't really, or she doesn't really notice any difference when they sub with TFA meringue for FA in a recipe. There are a couple of others, you know, Purulum have got a meringue, but you really, you know, buy a 20 ml bottle of FA. It'll last you forever because it's mainly used in the 0.5 to 1% range. So it's just very small additions to a huge range of recipes. It's an essential ingredient. Don't leave it out of a recipe if it calls for it. And that 20 ml bottle or even a 10 ml bottle will last you a long time. You'll be using it all the time. And once you've got that bottle of FA meringue, you've signed off on meringue. You then don't need to look at others. You don't need to buy other brands. You don't need to experiment with other brands. You've got your meringue flavor. It'll be in your stash, and you'll use it on a weekly basis.
Yeah, you know, when the cereal craze hit, I saw this as a very popular thing to add to your cereals. Now, you know, I made some quick notes over here. Something like if you're building a cereal base, you know, something like FA meringue, cereal 27, and cream fresh and milky undertone, cream fresh or milky undertone, you know, would be a pretty good cereal base to work with. What I think meringue does is it gives it, it widens the profile without adding a lot more weight to it. So it gives you like a fluffiness, almost like a marshmallow would do, right? Wayne has been talking about using this, almost like a marshmallow, where you get the marshmallow feel, but you won't get the marshmallow taste. So in areas where you want a light, airy fluffiness and a sweetness in a mix, but you don't necessarily want a marshmallow taste, this would really work well. And if you think about a cereal mix, you potentially, you don't want the marshmallows in there, but you want that airy fluffiness, like a marshmallow. So that really works well. And then Richard said, it adds a little bit of sweetness as well. So and I'm talking about cereals again. Instead of just dumping in sweetener, by adding a little bit of meringue in there, you get some sweetness out of it. And if you think of cereal 27, for instance, it's loaded with EM in it. So the recipe inherently will be sweet enough. You don't have to pump any more sweetener into it, So it has many applications. Dietz, have you used this at all on your side? I know you're more into the fruit stuff.
I've actually, honestly, only started using it very recently with a couple of our mixes on the show. I would say probably 3 or 4 recipes from the show, and then on my own I tried it in a few of my mixes. So I can't really go into too much detail other than what you guys covered. Actually, you guys schooled me on this, so thank you. But what I have noticed is the airy, well, I would call it an airy sweetener. The marshmallow, very much like you guys described, but it does that for me at this stage. So I would say marshmallow sweetener, but like you said, no marshmallow. Very much agree with that.
Yeah, cool.
Depending on what I mix it in, yeah, I would also not add sweetener, even though I use sweetener in everything. So,
if you want to mix by the numbers and you're doing a cereal milk mix, you can just nail on 0.5% FA Meringue, 0.5% FW hazelnut. And those two together with whatever milk base you choose, be it Bav or cream fresh or milky undertone or whatever, those just infuse it with that kind of cereally, sweet cereally milk at the bottom of the bowl after you finish the cereal type of vibe to it, that sort of creamy, malty, sweet milk residue that you get at the bottom of the bowl. You may want to then extend that further, but as a starting point, 0.5% of each. You can look at recipes on ATF and you will find that combo of 0.5% each of meringue and hazelnuts in literally dozens of cereal
recipes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true, Richard. I had a look at ELR, and they were suggesting there the medium in recipes is 1%. I almost think that's too high. 1% would be the max that I would use it at. But I mean, anything after about 1%, you're going to start tasting, funny aspects. It should be used very low, and it does a wonderful job very low in it. I mean, single flavor 2.5%. This is not a thing that you should try on single flavor, and it won't work. I mean, unless you're doing some testing with it. But 2.5%, it's rated over there. But yeah, if you're going to be using this and you're thinking about a cereal recipe like Richard suggested, 0.5%, and you banging, is you don't have to add anything more.
And that's what makes it such a cost-effective concentrate as well. 110 ml bottle, you will make 100 recipes from, 130 ml juices from it, because you're using drops at a time, and it lasts. But because it's used so often, you'll get a good throughput on your on your concentrate. You're not going to be sitting with a bottle of meringue for 3 or 4 years.
The rest of your life.
Way to nothing by the time you finished it. So it's a really good, cost-effective, versatile, common ingredient. And if you're starting DIY, FA Meringue is one of the first concentrates that should go into your card.
Into your staple mix, yeah, into your staple stash, yeah, absolutely. Guys, is there anything more we want to add on FA Meringue?
Not from my side.
Cool, guys. So remember, if you have any more questions on FA Meringue, please leave them in the comments below. Any recipes with FA Meringue in them that you've tried and you really like, leave those in the comments below as well, so that we can have a look through them. Thank you so much for watching the show, and see you guys next week. Cheers.
Cheers.